Hello everyone, welcome back to our CIS 1060. Today we're gonna go over Business Analytics Project Part 1. Before we start, please make sure you have downloaded 3 documents on your device, the instruction, the workbook, and also one support document, that is a CSV document. So after you have that, let's get started. First, we always start by adding the file name by changing 1 to 2. So we go to the File tab, find Save As, and here we change the 1 to 2. Then we hit Enter. Now we back to our workbook and we finish the preparation step. And for today's project, we have one support document that is a CSV. So that is a sample data set contains over 3,000 randomized transactions made from a point of a sales system of the fast food chain restaurant. The data was collected from the April 2012 to March of the 2013. The dataset is organized in a comma separate value, that is a CSV format, with the field shows in Table 1 below. Files you will need to calculate using function and the formula in the Excel are shown in the Table 2. So basically the support document that cover this information, the inventory number, the store number, description, category, price, sold, unit cost, profit, date, and the store name. So that is a CSV file. First, I want to introduce what is a CSV file. So a CSV file is basically a simple data file that stores information in the rows and columns. When you open it in Excel, it may look like a spreadsheet, but it's much more basic than the regular Excel file. So the main difference is that the CSV file only keeps the raw data. It does not keep the thing like the formula, colors, charts, or special formatting or multiple worksheets. But an Excel work file can do all of that. So Excel is better when you want to work with the data, calculate the things, or make the file look organized and polished. But why a lot of people still using the CSV file, and the CSV file is very, very popular? Because they are very simple and easy for different systems to read. A lot of the software, website, and the database can export the data as CSV directly. And that makes the CSV a very common format when people want to move the data from one system to another. So in a simple way, you can think like that. So a CSV file is meant to storing and sharing the raw data, but an Excel file is much better than for the analyzing, editing, or presenting the data. After we understand what we have for this support document, let's get started. Step number 1, identify the quantitative data in your data sets and prepare the summarize of the data. Requirement guidelines are provided as below. Import the data from the support data transaction CSV into a single worksheet in your Excel worksheet using the name manager in the formula tab and rename the table transactions. Also rename the worksheet's data transaction and move it after the sheet 1 in the workbook. We want to import the data from the support document. How to do that? We first go to the data tab, and in the first group, get and transform data. We can find here's icon, the biggest one, that is a get data. So we go there, and that data is from the file. So we select the from the file because that is a CSV. So we click the second one, CSV. And the system gonna lead us to the document where we save this document. Because I save this instruction, this workbook, and CSV document in the same file, so the system gonna just lead me to that the file, the folder actually. So after I have that, I click that, and then I hit import. And the system gonna pop up a window that is a preview of this transaction CSV file. And then I hit the load. You can see now I successfully import this CSV file into our workbook. And we want to use the name manager in the formula tab and rename the table transaction. There is another way to rename this as a table. So I just like randomly click any cell from that. You can see here is the table design special tab pop-up, and the first group, that is a property. That is where we can rename this table. So I just copy the transaction from the instruction. I select that, and then I Control C, and then I go back to this work sheets and double click the table name box. I select that and then Control V and then hit enter button. So now I successfully renamed this table as a transaction, and that is what step number 1 want us to do. And also we want to rename the worksheets as a data transactions. So I will copy the data transactions from the instruction, select that, and Control C, and then go to the Sheets tab, double click the current name, and then Control V, and then hit enter button. So now I renamed this worksheet as a data transaction. And then I want to move it after the Sheets 1 in the workbook, so I can just drag that and make it after the Sheets 1. So now you can see I put the data transactions worksheets after the Sheets 1 worksheets. And that is step number 1. Step number 2, before you begin to use your data, be sure that you understand it. You need to prepare your data to conduct your analysis. Not all goods sold have a date of sale, so you will need to replace all blank cells in the date column within that date and ensure this column is formatted with a date format similar to this one. So 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the days, and 4 digits for the years. That is one type of the format for the date. So how we do that is we first find the date. Here is a filter option. So if we go there, and now all of these years, the years includes 2013, 2012, and the blanks. So I first select that, and then I just only select the blanks option, and then I hit OK. So now you can see in this table, only these 4 ID, they didn't have the date for that as a record. So I want to put this date to this empty cells as the record for the date for this ID. So I just copy this date, select Control C, then go back to the date, double click the first one and press Control V and then hit enter button. Because I want all of them keep the same day, so I can just simply drag that to the end, and the system, because there is no logic for that, the system just simply put the same date as the empty one. So I have on December 1st, 2012 for this 4 ID inventory number, which doesn't have the date for sale. This goods doesn't have the date for sales. So I just put that as the date for sales. So that is how we how to deal with the missing value. And next, step number 3, starting after the lost column in the transactions table, create a following calculate column with the structure reference using the formula list in table 3 below. Format all dollar-related column to accounting shows to digital place. So basically, we want to, based on this table, we want to add 3 columns for that: total sales, total cost, and total profit. And each of them, you can find there is a formula to calculate for that. So how to do that? I will first copy the total sales. I select that, Control C. Then go to the worksheets and find the first column, which is empty, and also next to the store name, there's column K. So I double click K1, that is the first empty cell next to the header, the store name header. So I press Control V and then hit enter. Because that is a table format, and the system detect that probably could be part of the column name. So the system just automatically added the total sales as a part of this table. And you can see it applied the filter for that. It already applied filter for total sales. And next, we copy the total cost and then double click L1 because we want to put that next to the total sales. And then you can see we add the total cost as a part of this table. And very similar, copy the total file, and then go to the column M, then paste it and press enter. Now we have a total profit for that. And next, we want to do the calculation for all of them. So how we do that is we first want to double click the K2 and put equal sign to let the system know now we want to start putting our formula for that. So price times the sold. So the price is at the same row, that is F2. So we click that one time. You can see in the formula bar we have add price. That stands for we have add price, and also we have we start and end by the bracket. The bracket that stands for this is in the same sheets, but the first content we want to use for the calculation, that is the price. And then times, we use the asterisk, stands for the times. Times sold, the sold is next to the price. Hit that one time and then hit enter button. So now you can see for all the item under the total sales, if I just randomly click that, they use the same formula, that is the price times the sold, and that is what we want, and that is also how the table gonna work. And next, for the total, we start with the equal sign and put the unit cost. We find the unit cost, that this one, and times sold, and then hit enter button. And for the total price, start with the equal sign. We want to use the total sales minus total cost, and then hit enter button. So now we have total sales column with the number, and we have a total sales, total cost, and total profit with a number, and we successfully add as a part of this table, and that is step number 3. Step number 4, your data set requires you to calculate different times period. After the column created in step number 3 above, create 4 column calculated column shows in table 4 below within the following. So headers, that is a month, date, years, and quarter. Reference the column with the date value. Format this as new fields with a general formatting. So we want to add month, date, years, quarter as part of this next to the total profit. So we first copy the month and then double click N1 because that is the first empty cell next to this total profit header. And then we press enter. We have a month there, and we copy the day, go to the O1, Control V, hit enter button. And for the year, copy that and go to the P1 and then hit enter button. And next we have a quarter, and then we double click Q1, hit that enter button. And for the month, let's double click on the first cells under the month, that is N2, double click that, start with equal sign and put month there. Once you put the first words, you can see the system gonna display some like a recommend function you probably want to use, and which we can just like a double click the one we want, and the system gonna put the full formula there. Also includes the parenthesis, so we don't have to type that. And for the serial number, that is a date, so we just like a click the same row, the item under the date column, and now you can see we have a month, add the date, so then we hit enter button. So that is the month for each ID, and for the date, very similar, double click, start with the equal sign and use the day as the function. And the series number is the date, and then we hit enter button. And for the year, very similar, start with the equal sign and put year here, and the serial number is the date, and then we hit enter button. So now, but for the quarter, so the formula divides the year into four equal 3-month period and runs as the result up to assign each date to the quarter 1, 2, 3, or 4. And also because the quarter must be a whole number. That is how it works. So for the quarter, we double click that, start with the equal sign. So if we take a look at this table, so basically we first calculate, we use the month divided 3. That will let us know, so what is the roughly quarter it might be. But also for the quarter, that should be a whole number. So then we need to round up that and with the 0 decimal, So you can see and round up the number. So what the decimal? So 0 as a decimal. So we use the round up as the final function we want to use. But between them, the number that is a month. So we put month there, the month, and the month, the series number is the date. And then after we have that, we finish calculate the month. We divide 3, and that is the basic number. Then for the non-digit is 0. So because that is a combination formula, every time if we do the combo, that is a combo formula. You can see in this formula there is we have a month and also have roundup because we want the system know that now we want to end calculate. So we end with another closing parenthesis to let the system know that we finish adding the formula, and then we hit enter button. So now we successfully calculate the quarter for that. And the next step number 5, go to the sheet 1 in your worksheet. Ensure it's immediately after your document worksheets and rename that a descriptive. So we copy the descriptive, go back to the worksheets, double click the sheet 1, make it active, and then paste the descriptive here and press enter. Now we rename that as a descriptive. And in this worksheet, using the example given in figure 1, so let's take a look at figure 1. So basically, we want to, that is empty stuff, and we want to calculate all the mean, median, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, range, counts, and the summer, and the sum for the price sold, unit cost, total sales, total cost, and total profit. Let's go back and see what is the logic. How does this table look like? So for the first 3 category, the price, sales, and the unit cost, that next to each other, price, sales, and unit cost. But after that, there is a date. So basically, we can using one, we can calculate the first everything for the price and then apply this formula to the unit cost. The system gonna identify, they're gonna automatically switch to the price to the sold and the unit cost, right? But after that, we cannot just like simply apply that to all this this 6 category, because after the unit cost, that is a date, we cannot do the calculation for that. But instead, so we can first, let me show you. So we can first do that. So for the price that's equal average, we use the average to calculate for the price. So the price actually that is in the transaction form, right? So we can just simply type TR, the system gonna display this menu. The first one, that is a transaction table. So transaction table, and then we use the left brackets to let the system know that what's the range we want to use for from the transaction table. So that is a price, right? So we double click the price, and then we end with the right bracket, then hit enter button. So now we have that. We have, if we take a look at this formula bar, average, transaction, bracket, price. So that is what we want. So we can just copy this content, because for the median to sum, we're gonna calculate this range of content, right? And next, for the median, double click, start with the equal sign, and we put median. And for the number, that is range of the transactions table for the the price from the price column from the transaction, and then we hit enter button. And for the standard deviation, start with the equal sign, standard deviation, standard deviation, standard deviation, STES, so this one. And then press that. And for the minimum, start with the equal sign, minimum, and hit enter button. Maximum. And for the range, we use the maximum minus the minimum, and then hit enter button. And for the counts, we start with equal sign, and you apply the count function. That is also the price from the transaction, and then hit enter button. And for the sum, start with equal sign, sum, double click, and then paste the transaction brackets, price. And after we fill all this required content, we can apply that to the unit cost because because that is next to each other. And next, for the total sales, basically we want to using the same formula. We want to apply the same formula, but change the content for the calculation. There is an easy way to do that. So we copy the content under the unit cost and paste that directly from the total sales. And for here, we change the total sales and we change the content, the transaction, we change the unit cost to total sales. Total sales, and then hit enter button. And we can just like simply copy the total sales and then change all of this formula, change the unit cost to total sales and hit enter. We can just manually do that if you don't want to make mistake. And for this one, the same. Next, the same. And then we apply this part to the total profit. All right, so we finished step number 5. Next, for the step number 6, using descriptive analysis, evaluate your data from missing value. So if we take a look at this table, and if any blank value are found, calculate the average of inventory item in appropriate cells below the table and enter this number in the blank cells within the transactions table. For example, if you need to average the unit cost of the inventory item 455 located in record ID 856, you should use the formula to calculate the average. So for some of the inventory, for some of the item, the sold is empty. So if we apply the filter for that now, unselect all, but select the blank and hit OK. Now you can see 2 of them are emptied. For the record for the sold is empty. So we first want to put we want to take notes for the ID and the inventory number for these 2 items. First, that is 92, and we just want to keep the value. We only want to keep the value for that, right? Only want to keep the value for that. First. So we just have to copy that. And we only want to leave the value for that. And next, we want to do a calculation to create a number and as the sold to fill this empty part. So I'm so sorry because the system didn't update. Actually, the previous formula is the wrong one. Instead we just like using that one. So let me show you. Double click. We change the range. We change the last item from the Unicode to the sold. So I'll show you how to do that. First, we want to use the average if function to do the calculation. And for the range, that is a transaction table, and that is inventory number. Double click that. And with right bracket and leave with a comma to move to the criteria. So for the criteria, as the example says that if you need to average the unit cost inventory item on 455, so the 455 should be the criteria, that is inventory number. In this case, so the cell D17, that is stands for the criteria, and we end up with a comma. And next, for the average range, that is a transactions table, that is from transactions table, and the item is sold. So we find the sold and then end with a right bracket and then ending with the parenthesis and then hit enter button. So we calculate the sold for the ID 90 for the item for the inventory number for the item, which ID is 92. And we want to use a very similar, we want to use the same function, but we change the inventory number from the 17 to the 18. As after we calculate this the sold for these two ID, we just like to put that in the data transactions in the data form on table. So the first is 3.26, and the second one is 1.43. And then we hit enter button. So now I finished this step number 6. Step number 7, you will need to prepare your workbook so that is legible and understood by the audience if printed. Prepare your workbook for printing with the given formatting guideline. So first, scale the descriptive worksheet. So that is this one, descriptive worksheets. We go to the page layouts, and so we want to scale the descriptive worksheet so the width fits in one single page in a landscape orientation. So we want to adjust for the orientation. So we go to the page layout and find the orientation and switch that to the landscape. And also we want to change the scale to feet. For the width, we want to change that to one page. So we change that to one page, and that is step number A. Step number B, create the customer footer. In the left section of the footer, insert a file name in the middle of the footer. So basically, we want to do the customize the footer for that. So there is a very easy way to do that. Is we go to the view section, and here is a page layout. If we go to the page layout, you can see here is add footer. If we hit that one time, you can see in the Robin, there pop up a header and footer special tab. And for the left one, we want to insert a left section of the footer inside the file name. So file name for the left footer. In the middle, we want to, in the middle of the footer, enter a page number, a / and the number of the pages. So the page number / and the numbers of the pages, that is the middle footer. And for the right one, we want to insert worksheet name. So the worksheet name, that one. And then we finish to customize this footer. After all, let's save this document before we close that. Make sure you hit the save button. And then let's go back to the Cengage and try to submit it. Oh, I get 39. It's accounting. All right, for the step number 3, I forgot to format the 3 as a counting format with the 2 decimal places. So let me go back. So I go back from the K2 to M. So K2M, K2M format that is accounting with the 2 decimal place symbol, and then hit OK. The first step. All right, that is my only mistake. And then I hit save. Let me submit it one more time and see if I can get a full score for that part. Start. So now I get 100 out of 100. So that is project one. If you have any question, you're welcome to go to my office or email me. Otherwise, I will see you later. And thank you so much for your patience and your time. I will see you later.